And welcome to another episode of the Two Fans Podcast. I'm your co-host, Joshua Ament.
And I'm your co-host, Ari Jesselson.
Today, honestly, we were kind of planning on doing the first part of this in the last episode, but you know what? The team awards we had planned took a lot longer than we expected. And it was fun to talk about. Instead, we got a little unexpected two-parter here.
Woo!
What we're gonna do what I kind of alluded to in yesterday's episode is we're gonna look at the upcoming NFL honors this Saturday. Look at all the awards available, see who we think's gonna win them.
Yeah, so Josh, how about we start this off with the offensive and defensive rookies of the year? Obviously, those are, some people say, the second best awards behind the MVP. So how about we get rid of that first?
All right.
So who did you have for your offensive rookie of the year?
All right, now my offensive rookie of the year. Now, of course, you have, I guess, the battle of the Justins here, where everyone pretty much knows it's going to be either Justin Herbert or Justin Jefferson. I'm assuming you'd also have one of them to pick. You can go ahead and say who you think, because they both have strong cases.
Yeah, so the battle of the Justins. Obviously, Herbert, despite having a 6-9 record, he had 4,336 yards, 31 TDs, which is a rookie record, and 10 interceptions. And Justin Jefferson had 88 receptions for 1,400 yards and 8 TDs. Obviously, those are two great stat lines, especially for rookies. But I think I do have to give it to Justin Herbert. Obviously, those 31 TDs really did help his case, and he did set a record at the end of the day. So I believe that Justin made the biggest impact for the future of the Chargers.
So I actually guess I reached a similar conclusion to you. Of course, just to marvel at Herbert, like even more so, like again breaking the rookie record for touchdowns with 31. He was actually fourth ranked in the league in terms of passing yards per game. Only Mahomes, Watson, and Brady had more than 289.1, which is what he had. 98.3 passer rating, ranked just outside the top 10, and a not too shabby 7.3 yards per attempt. Another thing is that, yes, he broke the rookie record for touchdowns. He also broke the rookie record for total completions and tied it for most completions in a game with 37. Joe Burrow also had that this year. But one more thing that I don't see get talked a lot about is that despite only playing 15 games, he was 38 yards shy of Andrew Luck's rookie record for passing yards in a season. So just think, like that one extra game could have given him just another record.
Yeah, and I think also something to look about, not only the stats that he did break, but also the stats that he almost broke. But when we look at the offensive line, from Pro Football Focus, the PFF, the Chargers' offensive line ranked 29th out of 32. That is not good at all. And for a QB in his rookie year to do what he did, break all those records, almost break more records, despite one of the worst offensive lines in the league, that just takes a cake, in my opinion.
Yeah, right. But not to be forgotten, though. I do just want to brush on Justin Jefferson. Give him a little credit. Again, there's 88 receptions, 1,400 yards, 11.2 yards per target as well. Those last two figures ranked both fourth in the league among all wide receivers. So we were talking a couple episodes ago about like how the rookie of the year generally is only going to put up mediocre stats. These two guys, Herbert and Jefferson, both are really, really pushing the limit to what a rookie can do.
Oh, yeah. And I think going back to our first episode, these two players really show the example of why people expect so much out of rookies. Because when I look at these two in their first year, they definitely made a splash in the league.
Definitely. And let's look to the other side of the ball, where I think it's a little bit more clear in terms of who's going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. But I also want to shout out just a couple of other guys, 'cause it's, yeah, a one horse race, but let's not forget about some guys like Patrick Queen with 66 tackles, 3 sacks, 9 tackles for loss. You got Jeremy Chin with 68 tackles, forced 3 turnovers and 2 touchdowns. Julian Blackman, not too shabby year with the Colts, 2 picks. From my Bears, Jalen Johnson defended 15 passes, was ranked 7th in the league. But of course, I'll let you start with the winner, and if it's not who I think it is, then something's up.
Well, I think we all know who it is. Let's not lie to each other. Despite Jeremy Chin being a close second runner, it obviously goes to Chase Young. I mean, his 7.5 sacks, 1 TD, 44 total tackles. While it's not really eye-popping, it is one of the best performances. It is a great performance for a first-year rookie, who, may I remind you, has been triple-teamed in previous games.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like leading all rookies in basically every single stat that a D lineman should. You said 7.5 sacks, 10 TFLs, 12 quarterback hits, also forced 4 fumbles. Try saying that 5 times fast, and got 3 touchdowns. So again, like we said yesterday, with that best defensive team in Washington, the future on that defense is definitely bright, and Chase Young just makes it that much brighter.
Oh, yeah. I couldn't agree with you anymore.
All right, now let's turn now to Coach of the Year. And again, I'll let you go ahead because you probably have a lot to say.
Oh,
About...
you know I do. Coach of the Year, in my opinion, even without the bias glasses that I might have, goes to Kevin Stefanski. For once, he had an 11-5 record as the first-year head coach of the Cleveland Browns. He came in there when there was some locker room drama, a falling out with the terrible head coach who didn't know how to control his players or even like his players, and there's a lot coming to the season. He built a winning culture and respect in the Cleveland Browns organization. Not to mention, he has a pretty great jawline. But when we look at the other stats, he broke an 18-year playoff drought and a 26-year playoff win drought in his first year as a head coach. I don't think you could take away from how important Kevin Stefanski was to the Browns' success this year.
Yeah, I mean, definitely not. I do think though, as much as we should give Stefanski all the credit in the world for because he definitely deserves it. I do think though, just for a couple of other guys who may not be in the conversation the way they should, at least not this year. With you got Ron Rivera turning the entire direction of the Washington team of football franchise around. Yeah, Brian Flores, like we mentioned yesterday, with that bright future with the Dolphins. Tank for Tua last year, make the playoffs or almost make the playoffs this year. Of course, you also have, just from the top teams, you have Andy Reid, who pretty much could win it any year. Matt LaFleur in his second year with the Packers, staying strong.
Sean McDermott, who led the Bills to the AFC Championship game with a 13-3 record.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he definitely flies so under the radar.
Yeah, it's crazy how a team this good, you don't really give as much credit to their coach. But going back to Ron Rivera, Riverboat Ron, not only did he build that winning culture in Washington, but he's also battling cancer the entire time. So I think that's something that makes his case also.
Yeah, and absolutely. I mean, like with of course with Rivera, with the bright future, the bright rookie of the year, Chase Young. I mean, with one other thing we will get to. If you don't know what that is by now, where have you been? But we'll get to that when we get there. But I just want to brush back to Stefanski because I realized I didn't get the chance to praise him the way I wanted. Again, turning that 6-10 disappointment with Freddie Kitchens' whole locker room really in disarray, turned them to 11-5 and on the rise. Being able to utilize, I mean, one of the best running back duos in the league, if not the best, with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Being able to vary the pass and the run, 52.2% of their plays were pass plays. And that is the third closest to a pure 50-50 split of any team in the league. Only the Titans and Patriots, so two other well-coached teams, were more even than that. And then not just that, not just taking over the Browns, not just having an 11-5 season, your first season as head coach, but with the adversity of this season, with the Browns' multiple COVID outbreaks, with, of course, taking over Freddie Kitchens' job. With having your star wide receiver injured midway through the season,
having a star running back hurt for a few games, the COVID crisis for the final 3 games, including that wild card game for the Browns. There's a lot that there was a lot that happened in the Browns facility inside and outside of the football spectrum, and he handled that like a big boss.
Yeah, I don't think anyone could have handled it any better than he did. So credit where credit is due. So let's go now. I mentioned a little bit ago some feel good stories in DC. How about another one? Shouldn't be a contest for comeback player of the year. I literally just have in my notes comeback player of the year, Alex Smith, and that's just it. Like we can praise him for his recovery, his willpower. I mean, his ability to come back from, that gruesome injury.
Yeah, and just to add on that, in my notes, I had comeback player of the year, aka the Alex Smith Award. Alex Smith, for obvious reasons, I do believe the NFL should might rename the award to the Alex Smith Award. In articles by Yahoo Sports' Shalise Menza Young and Ryan Young, there were reports of Alex Smith breaking his fibula and tibula. And during surgery, they almost had to amputate his leg, as there was a lot of problems with it. And he actually almost died due to surgical problems. And just to think, he had 17 surgeries in 11 months, almost died, almost has his leg amputated, and he came back on the football field, playing like the same, if not even a little bit better than Alex Smith did in the past. I think he is a true story of what someone who never gives down, never throws in the towel is.
Yeah, really, what more can I say to that?
I don't think there's so much more to say to that, because I don't think there's a competition for this award, in my opinion. And for many other people, it's a guaranteed Alex Smith. Even if you didn't step on the field, even if you only took one QB kneel, Alex Smith would have been comeback player of the year, for obvious reasons.
Yeah, absolutely. As much as I'd want to extend this, we do have to move on to two more awards, then we get to the big one. And let's start with Offensive Player of the Year. We got, because this seems to be one of the most up for grabs awards of this season, I guess. You have a couple guys. I'll highlight Derrick Henry for having a 2,000 running yard season, 5.4 yards per carry, ranked 6th in the league. I have Stephon Diggs leading the league both in yards and in receptions. Let me see, 127 receptions, over 1,500 yards. But I think my pick would have to be Patrick Mahomes. Leading the league with 15 games, 316 yards per game. Probably should have gotten my stats a little bit more organized for today. But 4,740 yards, 38 touchdowns, passer rating of 108.2, and again leading a maybe not the best offense like we said yesterday, but certainly a top 5, top 3 probably offense in the league.
Yeah, so I do got to add on. I do believe there's a lot of players who is up for grabs award. There's Josh Allen, there's Stephon Diggs, Derrick Henry, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes. So there is a lot, but I do believe Derrick Henry has to take the cake for one reason alone: 2,027 rushing yards. That is how many running? I believe it's only 9 other running backs to surpass 2,000 yards, because 2,000 yards in 16, maybe even 17 games is just tremendous to do. I think that's the epitome for what a running back can do, and that's the highest. That's the thing. That's the 5,000 yards for a quarterback for a running back. I think those 2,000 yards alone make him the offensive player of the year.
There's certainly a case to be made for that. But I will say one thing as to why I don't think Henry might not win it is that in this day and age, the NFL seems to have one motto, and that is when in doubt, go with the quarterback.
Oh yeah.
Be that assigning the praise, the blame, what have you. It seems more quarterback driven. I mean, then people will really realize no, it is.
Yeah. So I do believe that this is a quarterback's league. A lot of these awards, especially MVP and Rookie of the Years, is always going to be an quarterback. But remember, Adrian Peterson got his MVP because he ran for 2,000 yards. While I don't think Derrick Henry is an MVP, I do believe that he should at least get Offensive Player of the Year, because 2,000 yards is still something that's really impressive. And I don't think 4,000 passing yards, 30 plus TDs is as significant as 2,000 yards, at least for single season accolades.
All right, so certainly some disagreement here. I think this is the first one we disagreed on. I think it actually might be.
Yeah, I think so. Because we both said Stefanski, we both said Herbert and Young and Smith.
Yep. All right. I don't think though there's going to be such a disagreement for Defensive Player of the Year.
Oh, I think there will be. Yeah, let me hear what you have to say first.
All right. Now I just want to say no, I don't think he's going to win. But I'm going to be a little bit of a homer here. Not like we haven't seen that before. But I do have to shout out Roquan Smith for the biggest All-Pro snub, maybe this decade or last decade. You know, whenever you want to say it starts. I mean, he ranked number 2 among all players in solo tackles, only behind Zach Cunningham. He also ranked number 2 in tackles for loss with 18, only behind TJ Watt. In terms of combined tackles, he ranked 6th overall with 139, and that's I don't even think aside from TFLs where he was behind TJ Watt. In terms of solo tackles, in terms of combined tackles, every single All-Pro linebacker had less than him, and I believe in interceptions too, but don't quote me on that. But go ahead. I've stated my case for certainly finalist. Or you want to have your case for winner?
Well, I do believe Roquan Smith was snubbed of a lot of things this year. Another person snubbed for a lot of things also was Green Bay Packers cornerback Jair Alexander. In an article by Zach Krause on January the 8th, it said that his stat line, he has 69 tackles, 69 total targets, with only allowing 35 catches, 337 total yards, and only 2 touchdowns. For a cornerback, that is amazing. That is Darrelle Revis. That's Darrelle Revis prime like stats. I think for him just to be for him not to be first team All Pro is disgrading to the player himself. I believe Jair Alexander is one of the cornerbacks we rarely do talk about, and I do believe he is a frontliner to be defensive player of the year.
All right, now I'll tell you who's probably going to be the one challenging and maybe winning defensive player of the year. And that is we mentioned, of course, the couple of defenses before, some of the 3 top defenses this past year in the league. Of course, you have the Rams, Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, Brandon Staley, all that. We mentioned Washington with Chase Young. certainly looks bright there. And then that third best defense in the league was the Pittsburgh Steelers, and a big reason of that is who I think is Defensive Player of the Year.
TJ Watt.
TJ Watt. And really, you could look at. I feel like you really only have to look at 3 stats for him, and that's 15 sacks, 21 tackles for loss, and 21 QB hits, and that is the edge rusher's triple crown, so to speak. That that's really, I feel like all he really needs. Of course, the being able to lead the defense around him certainly helps. Alexander can't really say that. His Packers defense was up and down. The Steelers were, at least defensively, you can talk about the offense all you want, but defensively were pretty consistent for most of the year.
Yeah, and as I said in previous episodes, I do love the Steelers defense. In one of the big reasons is TJ Watt. He is actually one of my favorite players in the NFL right now, and I would love for him to be a Brown, but that's just me personally wanting my team to be even better. But actually, he had 41 QB hits, and adding to the 15 sacks, 23 tackles for loss. And he's just been phenomenal. He seems like he's covering the entire field. He's just the perfect player, in my opinion. I think he is the underlying Defensive Player of the Year, but I do believe we should consider Jair Alexander and Roquan Smith. But TJ Watt definitely probably is going to be the winner.
All right, and that brings us to the MVP. I don't really think I want to say anything here.
So I will start. Aaron Rodgers. There we go. Ripping the Band-Aid right off.
Yep. Thank you. Doesn't help, but thank you.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot that's wrong. There's a lot that happened with Rodgers' game. Obviously, in the past few years, he got a new head coach, and the system is working better around him. Again, he did go 13-3, had a completion rating of 70.7%, 4,299 passing yards, 48 TDs, and only 5 interceptions. That is incredible. And he's still having these bomb throws. The longest he had this year was a 78-yard pass. I think Aaron Rodgers, despite being so old, maybe he's going down these might be his last years, but I think Aaron Rodgers was playing like an MVP in the MVP level.
Yeah, absolutely. No one, not even me. I can't dispute it. You have a passer rating of 121.5. I believe almost 10 points better than second best guy. 48 touchdowns. Second most was 40. Touchdown for 9.1% of passes thrown were touchdowns. It's 2% more than second best. It's like these. It also leads the league in completion percentage. Number 2 in fewest interceptions. And I mean among qualifiers, and 3rd in yards per attempt. I mean, wow, what can
think about it like this: Aaron Rodgers had a better completion record than Blake Bortles this year. Blake Bortles had a 50% completion rate from 3 out of 5 passes. Aaron Rodgers had a 70.7. Think about it like that. Well, I know that's not impressive. I just want to remind you that Blake Bortles is throwing passes in the year this is 2019, so never mind.
Well, that is actually a very, very opportune time to make a mistake here, because I just want to take a second from this conversation and just point out that yes, we here at Two Fans Podcast are not perfect. We make mistakes. We leave out things we want to say. We say things that aren't true. So we just want to take at least one point within every week to just go over some errors and omissions and mistakes that we have made. So let me start from Monday, because this was eating at me really all week. And that was, I mentioned, of course, in my whole Cubs rant with the Cubs rotation, Albert Alzolay I said he had a 2.95 ERA despite a rocky debut. Unfortunately, that rocky debut that I mentioned was actually in 2019. So, I mean, of course, a 2.95 ERA is still a 2.95 ERA or 3.95. Now I'm forgetting, but it was. You can go back. I'm confident that what I said then was right. If it's not right, someone please let me know. Uh, one more thing from Monday is from the discussion about the Goff and Stafford trade. Is that we'd mentioned we wanted to talk about John Wolford in a little bit. We never got around to it, so let's take a couple of minutes now with John Wolford, because really, out of that deal, he was the biggest loser out of all of them.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think, looking back to what he could be, I do know that a lot of Rams fans were excited. Maybe not for the best, but they were excited to see what he could do. Obviously, he definitely is the only person to lose this trade. He is still a young age of 25, so he does have some time to start his NFL career. I mean, looking back at the one game he played, he was 22 for 38 with a completion rating of 57 for 231 yards, no TDs, but he had an interception.
I mean, yeah, going back 2018-19, I believe it was, playing for the AAF, one of the better teams, the Arizona Hotshots. Shout out to anyone who can still remember that. You see signed with the Rams, able to take over for Goff in Week 17. I believe in the playoffs too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and then he got hurt after the Jamal Adams cheap shot.
Yeah, that's right. But you saw reports from last week before the trade that Goff and Wolford were going to have an open competition. Ask me how those go.
Pretty good for LA, not so good for John Wolford or Jared Goff.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure that that at least one team within the next few years is going to give him a chance. It looked like he had a prime opportunity, though, just sort of snatched away from him.
Definitely, but looking back to Matthew Stafford, the new LA Rams quarterback, and what is looking to be the starting quarterback for the team, he is 32 years old. So obviously it's not the worst age, but it's not the best age for a QB, especially in a new system. So if Matthew Stafford, if he gets hit a lot, I could see Wolford getting in maybe week 5 or 6.
Yeah, who knows? But of course, let's not hope for injuries or anything.
Yeah, I don't pray for injuries, but I just say if the system doesn't work, they might pull in someone else. Hopefully, Stafford could stay healthy, and hopefully, he could make a playoff push.
Yep. All right. A couple of things though from yesterday's episode. I believe you mentioned the retiring Steelers center.
Yes.
I don't know which Hayward you were trying to mention, but the actual guy for that was Maurkice Pouncey. Had a long, very solid career as a center. I mean, of course, probably know him and his brother Mike. I don't actually know how Mike's doing, if he's retired yet or not. But certainly Maurkice has had a great career, and of course, I have to wish him well in retirement.
Sorry to interrupt, but I said Casey Hayward yesterday, the cornerback for the Chargers. So sorry for everyone for making the mistake. But I do.
Don't worry. That's why we go over them. That's why we correct ourselves.
Yeah, and if there's anything we missed, email us at 2fanspodcast number 2 at gmail.com.
Yeah. All right. Just a couple more things. I felt like you were trying to take us out there. No, we still got.
No, I just want to let the people know.
Yeah. All right. I made a couple of mistakes, and I have to come clean. Let you all know I'm a bad researcher, or I guess a bad improv talker. Because I realized when I mentioned yesterday the Pats as a playoff team that fell off. I realized it kind of could have been misinterpreted, made it seem like they were a playoff team from this year. That is not the case. They were a playoff team in 2019. Brady's last year and everything. They dropped off from that year to this year. I want to make that clear. Also, one more thing with the Patriots, I also realized I had said N'Keal Harry was a rookie. He's not. Second year. I think I was confusing him with Ayuk. I don't know why. And then I also just misspoke when I mentioned Washington and a bad defense. Of course, like what we said before, one of the best defenses in the league. I just wanted to clear those couple of things up. And Ari, do you have anything else that I missed?
No, I am completely perfect 100% of the time. No, I mispronounced some names, definitely a lot of last names. I just saw the first few letters, try to pronounce it, and just wink the rest. So we're not perfect. We know that. That's why we're here. This is why we want to better ourselves, get the facts right, get the pronunciations right, and we're just two people at the end of the day.
Not just two people, but
Two fans. Hey.
That I don't know how else we can end this episode, but that certainly seems like the time to do it. So thank you for still listening, for bearing with us once again. Again, if you have any questions, comments, or something you want us to talk about, you can email us at number 2 fanspodcast@gmail.com. No caps, no spaces. We do this every single day, Monday through Thursday. It's going to be uploaded to Spotify, Anchor, and YouTube. And one more announcement before I forget, because I just realized I didn't have it down in any notes or anything. But Ari,
Yes,
that Monday through Thursday rule I just mentioned, I think you want to make one exception for it.
Oh yes, Super Bowl Sunday, the biggest event of the year. Not only is it the final football game, the final showing, so maybe the best concert also, but you have the best podcast duo coming back for a special Super Bowl Sunday episode.
Yeah, we're gonna Sunday afternoon. We're gonna give you our Super Bowl preview. We realize we haven't had a whole lot of time to talk about the Chiefs, the Bucks, the matchups, the big players to watch, the big stories to watch. But if you haven't heard any of that, then again, what have you been doing? But if you want to hear from us, we will have you covered a few hours before the Super Bowl, so we can be the last thing in your ears before you watch the game.
Oh yeah, that's always been my dream, to be the last thing in people's ears.
All right. With all that being said, again, we do this every single day, Monday through Thursdays, with next Sunday, or not just Sunday. I'm always confused with the next and this Sunday, but whatever. But Super Bowl Sunday, we will add in an extra episode in addition to our Monday through Thursday daily uploads to Spotify, Anchor, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. So with that being said, thank you so much for listening. And until next time, we will talk to you then.